There is a moment you have experienced more times than you have ever admitted out loud. A younger woman looks at you. Not dramatically, not for long, just long enough. And then she smiles. You feel it land somewhere real. And almost immediately you explain it away. She is just being polite. She smiles at everyone. It does not mean anything. Men who dismiss moments like this do so for one reason. They no longer trust their own perception. And that doubt did not appear from nowhere. It was built slowly, quietly, over years of being told that attraction has an expiration date, that interest belongs to the young, that if a younger woman notices you, it must be accidental, harmless, meaningless, something other than what it actually was. So you trained yourself to look away before the signal had a chance to fully register. But here is the truth most men never hear explained properly. That smile was not accidental. It was not random. It was not loud because it did not need to be. Human behavior rarely announces itself. It reveals itself softly and then waits to see who is paying close enough attention to notice. The men who miss these moments are not lacking something fundamental. They were simply operating without the full picture. Let us slow this down entirely and look at what is actually happening. When a younger woman smiles at you, your instinct is to downplay it because you have spent years assuming that attraction requires effort, performance, proving yourself, selling something. That is how younger men operate, constantly adjusting, constantly checking how they are being received, constantly auditioning for attention they hope will be given to them. What older men rarely realize is that what they stop doing is precisely what is being noticed. You are not scanning the room for approval. You are not trying to be seen. You are not adjusting your posture or your words every few minutes to fit the expectations of whoever is around you. You are simply there, fully, quietly, completely present. And that quality, that settled, unhurried presence, creates a contrast that is felt before it is ever consciously named. Real confidence is not something you announce. It is something people feel when you are not trying to manage their reaction to you. You move differently. You do not rush. You do not fill silence to avoid sitting in it. And when a younger woman smiles at you in a coffee shop, a lobby, or a passing moment with no social script to hide behind, it is often because her nervous system has already responded to you before her conscious mind caught up with what she was feeling. She did not decide to smile. She responded. But here is where most explanations stop too early. Because that smile is not only about admiration. It is about something quieter and more significant. It is about safety. Not the dramatic kind, the subtle kind. Emotional predictability. Groundedness. The feeling of being near someone who is not trying to steer the interaction toward a particular outcome. Who does not need to win the moment. Who is not asking for anything from the exchange, simply by existing in it. People who do not need something from you allow you to relax. They do not tighten the room. They do not shift the emotional temperature the moment they enter. They hold space without demanding that space be acknowledged. She does not feel pulled into a performance around you. She does not feel evaluated. She can simply exist for a moment without managing anything. That quality is genuinely rare. And the smile is her body's way of registering it before her mind has formed the words. Here is where many men get it wrong. They assume the smile is either clear romantic interest or simple politeness. That is a false binary. Sometimes the smile is a question, not asked with words, but with attention. Who are you? Are you as calm as you appear? Do you know what you are carrying? This is where an internal assessment happens, often without her consciously realizing it is happening. If you flinch, if you look away too quickly, if you dismiss the moment with visible discomfort, the signal closes. Not because you failed some test, but because the energy you returned did not match what she sensed. Men who react chase. Men who notice allow. And allowing is where quiet power actually lives. Now, let us go deeper. Because the real reason younger women smile at older men is not admiration. It is recognition. And once you understand what is being recognized, you stop second-guessing entirely. When a younger woman smiles at you, what she is often recognizing is resolution. Men who have lived long enough to stop negotiating with themselves carry something that is almost impossible to manufacture artificially. A settled internal posture. Decisions already made. Values already chosen. The internal debts of earlier life already paid. You are no longer auditioning for your own existence. And that shift, that change in how a man occupies space when he has stopped trying to prove something, is felt by people around him before a single word has been exchanged. Most older men do not realize this shift has already happened inside them. They still remember the years when attention felt conditional, when being noticed required effort, charm, or some kind of proof. So, when attention arrives now, unprompted and unforced, they mistrust it. They think it cannot possibly be for them. But that doubt does not come from humility. It comes from an outdated self-perception that was never updated to match who you actually became. You are no longer asking for entry. The door has already opened. The smile is simply someone acknowledging that there is another layer most explanations never reach. A younger woman does not smile at an older man only because he is confident. She smiles because he is unpressured. There is no hunger in his eyes. No agenda in his posture. No urgency running beneath the interaction. He is not trying to extract anything from the moment. And psychologically, that quality is disarming in a way that is almost impossible to describe, but completely impossible to miss once you have felt it. Younger men often wear their desire openly. It leaks through everything: their timing, their speech, the way they lean in, the way their eyes scan for feedback. They want to be chosen, so their behavior bends toward the outcome they are hoping for. You do not do that. Not because you are performing restraint, because you have genuinely moved beyond the need for it. You are not asking to be evaluated. You are not auditioning. You are simply present. And that presence alone shifts the entire dynamic of the interaction. This is where many men unknowingly collapse what was building. They rush to define the moment. Was that interest? Should I act on it? Should I ignore it? But the moment was never asking for action. It was asking for presence. The most grounded response is almost always the simplest one: a return smile, unhurried eye contact, no escalation and no withdrawal. Just mutual, quiet awareness. That is enough. And that composed non-reaction is itself deeply attractive because it confirms exactly what she sensed from the beginning. Now, let us address the part most men avoid. Looking at directly, because it challenges everything they were conditioned to believe about age and desirability. Sometimes the smile is exactly what it looks like. Not psychological curiosity. Not a test. Not politeness. Attraction. Not for your age. Not despite your age. Simply attraction. And the discomfort that produces in most older men says far more about the narratives they absorbed than about the current reality of who they are. Men who internalize the idea that desirability peaks early carry a quiet confusion through the later chapters of their lives. They feel something has shifted in how the world responds to them, but they do not trust it. They rationalize it away. But attraction does not follow timelines. It follows signal clarity. And age, when it is integrated rather than resisted, sharpens those signals considerably. Physical markers of age often amplify psychological presence rather than diminish it. Stillness communicates certainty. People who are unsure of themselves move more, speak more, signal more. You have stopped doing all of that. And that restraint creates contrast against a culture that is entirely addicted to noise, exposure, and performance. The smile often carries a brief pause afterward, a moment of quiet recalibration. He did not lean in too fast. He did not look away first. He did not take anything from the moment. That steadiness registers as something she rarely encounters: emotional strength without demand. Here is the final shift that changes everything. Once you genuinely understand why these moments happen, the question of what you should do with them simply disappears. You stop scanning for permission. You stop shrinking the moment to protect yourself from the possibility of misreading it. Not because you have become arrogant, but because clarity has replaced confusion. You were never invisible. You were simply quiet. And quiet men are profoundly misunderstood until someone with enough awareness stops long enough to notice the stillness behind it. When you finally stop wondering why you are noticed, when that question genuinely loses its hold on you, something shifts in how you move through the world. You do not move faster. You do not move louder. You move cleaner, with less noise and more certainty. Without performance and without apology, because the men who are noticed most consistently are not the ones trying to attract. They are the ones who stopped asking who is watching. And that quality, that complete, Unself-conscious self-possession does not announce itself. It is simply felt by everyone in the room before you have said a single word. When you stop wondering why you are noticed, you become undeniable.